When I tell people to sing, one of the things really commonly that we get in the modern world, I get is, well, I can't sing. And I immediately jump in and say, of course you can sing. Yes, you can sing. Not only can you sing, but you are singing at every moment because your body and your voice and your movements, that is either singing. But what song is it that you're singing is the question I want to present. Are you singing something beautiful, or are you singing something that's angry and upset and difficult, which is, it's all right. We want to work towards harmony in ourselves and with each other. I'd like to talk about some things that have to do with harmonics. When I was a young man, teenager, I was very interested in science and physics at that time. Harmony was something that I discovered. And I had, when I was 14 or 15, maybe 13, I'm not sure, very, very young, I found these lids, metal lids, maybe 2 or 3 feet across. And I discovered that if you hit them, they would ring. And I found that fascinating. I hung them from my ceiling in my room. And I discovered something more, which is, as they're hanging in front of me, that if I made a certain tone, whatever, they would resonate and ring back. And that was my first introduction to this principle of harmony and sound waves and the principles of sound waves and sound in a very deep way. Later on in my life that I continued to study through these years. When I studied with my teacher in Pakistan, Ibn Sina, Ibn Sina talks about the organs of the body having qualities. There's a mizaj to the heart and to the lungs and all these different parts, a particular balance of earth, air, fire, and water. But there's another quality which is, he pointed to, which he didn't actually say it was emotions, but it was a state of being in which there would either be harmony with other organs or not, or disharmony. One of the most obvious harmonies that we want to take place in our body daily on a regular basis is the harmony between our breathing, the breath, and our heartbeat. And when they're in tune, harmony is something that when something is in tune with something else and entrained. When I was very young, I discovered when I was making those sounds to the candle covers, these metal candle covers, I discovered that if I went to one of these very tall light posts, particularly ones that curve at the top, that if I pushed it with the right rhythm, not hard, but little by little, so that each time it moved in one direction, if I did a little bit more, that I could eventually get this thing shaking so much that if I kept it up, it would probably shake the light off the top. So these are just one of the many other examples of harmony that is such an important part of our physical world. And Ibn Sina, he said that these organs, each organ, the stomach and the liver, they want to have an amiable, a good relationship with each other. So in that, he's referring to, because we know that there's, for those of you who know about music, there's major and minor chords, harmonic chords, and some of them are sort of up and lively and active, and others are sort of dark and depressive and downward. When we sing together, there's a principle in music called the circle of fifths. When we sing together, and there's harmony. If I'm singing in harmony with another person, or if there's more, that the beautiful thing about that singing with each other is that the frequencies are amplified by each other. And when there's one disharmonic, someone who's out of tune, it actually dampens the amplification that would come about in the circle of fifths, or the harmonic, the harmonics that take place with each other. So Mozart was this genius in harmony, and there's many examples in his music that he had this insight and this sensitivity to the harmonics and the what that all meant, and he created that. And I mentioned it in another video, Alfred Tomatis, and he points out that Mozart, because he had this harmony, that for many people, if they're studying and you listen to Mozart, this became popular maybe 15, 20 years ago, that people would study with the sound of Mozart, with the music of Mozart playing, because it would help them sort of harmonize better. When we sing together, we harmonize, and the more we do that together, and the more we do that and hear each other and are in the realm of harmony, the more we can harmonize our body. Now, people come to me, and one of the things they say, well, I talk about singing, and I've prescribed singing for many. Some families have taken on that prescription, and I know in my own life, there was when I first became Muslim, we used to not take a meal, any meal, without singing a short piece from a qasida or something, or making some kind of dhikr. That is a very wise thing to do. The more we do it. There was a man in Morocco that once advertised for employees, and people came to him and said, yeah, I need a job. What do you want me to do? And he said, I want you to go out into public and make vocal dhikr aloud. And he paid them to do that because he knew that that would affect more than that one person, although it does a great deal for us. The repetition of dhikr, the recitation of Quran with tajweed, all of these things can bring more harmony to us. Now there's a person, the other thing that I want to mention is it's part of our mammalian human animal nature to recognize unconsciously, if nothing else, these harmonies and disharmonies. When we feel really good, we're going to be in harmony, different parts, the heartbeat, the breath, and then all of the other organs, which can change by the vibration. And when I was teaching science many years ago to teenagers, one of the exercises I gave them, was to take a sheet of 8 by 11 typing paper and hold it between their hands, and hold their hands still, and demonstrate to them that even though they felt they were still, you could see the end of the paper vibrating. And I pointed that out to them, that even when we feel we're still, we're probably vibrating around 12 hertz, 12 frequencies per second. But this vibration and this frequency takes part in our entire being. You know, the popular song in the 60s was, I'm picking up good vibrations. You see, they're giving out good vibrations. It's called good vibrations. And we use, good vibes is what we used to say, and still do to some degree. So, having said all that, I also have a collection of videos in which animals respond to music. The elephant that dances to the playing of a piano. The gazelles and the thing that will listen to the sound of the harp and be attracted to it. So the place of sound and the place of harmony or disharmony in our own self is quite amazing. And the reason we have music in every culture in the world and is because we know that music can bring harmony and affect us by the sound and the harmonies that are there. Probably in the future, I think there's some research going on now in which different people in different parts of the world are studying the effects and the possible effects of sound and frequencies of certain sounds that could cancel viruses or disable them to some degree. Having said all that, also in the videos that I've saved, I have videos of young children. For example, a young boy that's not even walking or probably barely crawling in his high chair, and he begins to listen to a piece of popular music. And the piece of music, interestingly, is about "I will always love you," and sung in a particular way. And when that I will always love. When that long love comes out, this boy who is pre-verbal cries. So that's to demonstrate something. Now I'm going to place at the end of this video, or with this video, a a link to a YouTube video in which this young man who has become very popular at Emmy Awards, a great musician, and someone referring to him as the Mozart of the Gen Z, whatever that is, or maybe millennials, I don't know what. But the point is, he has an insight. And what I would like you to, if you do have a chance to listen to these videos and pay attention to them, I want you to notice, yes, I mean, he's a celebrity and he's won all kinds of awards, which is, fine, more power to him, and, giving him his due respect for that genius that has, that insight or that sensitivity he has to harmony. But what I would like you to do is observe in this great crowd of people how, with just hand movements, gestures of the body, he is able to get this group of thousands, in some cases, of strangers to sing in harmony, and to recognize. I want you to see and recognize that how delightful that is for those people that are doing that, and how he manages to do it simply by his hand motions to raise the a tone, to change this group to that group to that group. But I want you to observe more than the celebrity that he made you deserve, that it demonstrates this extraordinary thing about the human body and all mammalian bodies and all living things that relate to harmonics, that is sound and vibrations and frequencies that vary greatly. And when we find great deal, Dr. Alexander Lowen talks about when we meet someone and we kind of, as he says, fall in love with them, it's a kind of resonance that comes from that person and to each other that draws you to them because of the beauty of harmony. And he calls that it's physiological, or I guess it's an element of physics that describes falling in love. But watch this video if you can and observe the crowd and recognize that this is the kind of thing we want to amplify and encourage in the world. That is, rather than polarities and disharmony, to promote harmony and coming together, insha'Allah, which is our nature as living creatures and as mammalian humans, insha'Allah. Assalamu alaikum.